Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This footage is taken from a ranked game, and in this game I'm going to be playing a very different team composition from what you usually see me play. Normally I am someone who likes to push levels, try to get to level 8, level 9, play more expensive units, but in this game we're going to be doing a reroll team composition based around rerolling for Ezreal and rerolling for Karma. So I'm trying on the initial carousel to get one of the belts. I wanted a belt for my opener. I end up not getting that, and so I'm left with taking a tier off the carousel, and I end up taking a tier on Karma. There's also a tier on Ezreal here available. Let me just give you a little bit of the context for this game. So I am playing this game right after the patch came out that hotfix nerfed the mages. That when the patch that this was played on came out, mages were seen as being really, really strong. Not just seen, they were strong. The data backed that up. And so there was a hotfix nerf patch that came out that nerfed Vladimir, that nerfed Nami, and also nerfed Ryze. So a bunch of nerfs to mages. And my thinking was, you know what, this hotfix nerf came out, mages are going to be nerfed. I was playing this game right after the hotfix patch came out, and I was like, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that a lot of people probably haven't seen this hotfix nerf, so I'm going to try to take advantage of that, and there'll be like 3 people contesting mages in these lobbies, and maybe I can take advantage of that since mages are not actually going to be that strong anymore. Well, the whole plan was not to go in the direction of mages, but then I end up getting this tier off of the initial carousel, which I didn't really want, but I had to take this tier. Note that I haven't sold the Karma yet because I haven't really seen anything that I'd prefer to replace it with. But I've got a Karma with the tier here. I have just randomed my way into a 2-star Taric, and I've also picked up a Leona, and that's because I was able to just buy up the board, and I believe that I'm going to see what else I get here. But it turned out that what I was getting, and then look, I get another tier here, and I was like, ooh, you know what? I don't really want to play Ezreal Karma reroll. Oh, and then I get Ascension, which is a really good augment if you're going to be playing this team. And then I get 2 more Ezreals, I get another Taric, and I get another Karma in my shop. I was like, I don't really want to play Ezreal Karma reroll, but like, I kind of have to with this setup, don't I? I literally have gotten just about everything conceivable that you would want to have if you're going to be playing through this build. So this is a reroll build, and it is specifically a reroll build that has been played many times over by our own antisocial monkey. And I really would like to feature this build by just using footage from one of Antisocial's games, because Antisocial has, no exaggeration, played this team comp over 200 times in ranked games. That is not an exaggeration. It is by far his favorite team composition, and so I have seen this team played a good bit just from watching some of his games and having him in some of the normal games that we've done together. So I would really like to just use footage from Antisocial because he knows how to play this team comp a heck of a lot better than I know how to play this team comp. But unfortunately, we don't have replays for Teamfight Tactics, so I can only use footage that I have, footage from my own games. And thus, I am going to do my best to play this team composition here because no one else is playing this. I actually don't think I've looked in the lobby yet, but no one else is playing this. I have gotten all of the pieces for it between items and champions and augments, and I feel like I just have to go for this board. And once again, I'm literally hitting so hard on this team composition. All right, so what are the pieces to playing this? Well, basically, this is a team comp that's based around rerolling for a bunch of one-cost units. It plays 6 core units. You play Leona and Taric for your front line. They're both one-cost guardians. You play Karma and Ezreal, who are your main damage dealers. They're both one-cost units as well. You play Ashe, who brings Jade and Swiftshot. Jade pairing with Taric and Karma, Swiftshot pairing with Ezreal. And then Lee Sin is the last unit at level 6. Lee Sin provides Dragonmancer for Karma and also provides Tempest Trait along with the Ezreal. So those are the main pieces to playing this team composition. And the biggest thing that makes this team work, well, there's kind of, I mean, as always with any team composition, there's a couple of different things, but like the 2 biggest things are you need to have a blue buff on your main carry, and you need to have good defensive itemization on the front line. And if you have those two things, this comp can actually be pretty competitive. Now, I was not expecting to win these initial rounds because I'm only level 3, and I figured I'd be hitting some people that were level 4. But it turns out I actually win both of them anyway, even though I don't have Ezreal on my board. By the way, I'm continuing to hit these units to like a disgusting degree. I'm sure if Antisocial watches this, he's going to be like, he won't be able to believe how many of these units I'm hitting. That I have 2-star, I already have 4 Tarks. I already have 2-star Ezreal and 2-star Karma here. The one thing that's missing, though, is I am missing Ashe. Ashe is the unit that I really need right now. And Ashe would give me both Jade and Swift Shot. But note that I am not leveling. And so this is one of the big differences between the team comps I typically play on in my Teamfight Tactics games and the build I'm playing right now. You do not level, and that's really important because you need to stay at lower levels so that you have those higher shop odds for the 1-cost units. Again, you're looking for 1-cost units. You are not trying to push to level 5 early. You are not trying to look for 3 and 4-cost units. You're trying to get as many copies of the 1-cost units as possible. So you need to keep the level low, and that typically means that you lose streak throughout the early game. It's actually pretty unusual to be win streaking here on stage 2. That's not how this build is supposed to be played. One of the advantages of this build is that you typically have carousel priority early on because you're usually losing the early rounds, but that's not happening here because I have managed to get this blue buff on Karma. Now, typically, I am itemizing the Karma in this game because at the time that I played this, Antisocial was of the opinion that Karma was the unit to itemize. He has since changed his mind and gone back to itemizing Ezreal as the main carry. But at the time that I was playing this game, he was itemizing the Karma. And again, since I've mentioned, since he has played this team comp about 1 billion times, I was defaulting to his opinion. And in fact, I'd actually seen him play this comp just a few hours earlier in a double-up game when we were doing some double-up matches, and I was able to watch one of them. So once again, I'm going to hit one of my units, and I have now 2-starred my entire board without any rerolls, which is just insane for this setup. Now I'm trying to decide, do I itemize the Leona or the Tark? And my opinion was, even though I have 4 Tarks and only 3 Leonas, I believe Leona is the better of the 2 to itemize if you can pick one or the others. That's what I remembered from watching antisocialmunky play this team board. Leona's ability, where she has damage reduction, just makes her kind of innately a bit more tanky than Tark. Tark is certainly important for this team comp, but he is a bit more of a trait bot than Leona. Leona's kind of the more key unit. All right, so anyway, I am level 420 gold, which is great. I'm actually very rich for this setup as well. And now I'm up against, let's see, someone who's already gone to level 5 and is making use of their items. So again, I am expecting to lose these rounds early. The fact that I was able to win some of them is kind of crazy. This one looks like I'm going to come up a little bit short, but it's not a bad loss. I only take 4 damage, and that does appear to be the strongest person in the lobby, so I can't feel too bad about that. And again, look at how many of these units I'm hitting. I have 5 Ezreals, 5 Karmas, 4 Tarks, and I have not rolled at all. Again, for people who actually play this comp, they have to be just like shaking their heads at how disgusting my luck is here. But again, I have never played this comp before. This is literally the first time I've ever played this. I don't want to be testing this out for the first time in a ranked game, but I have seen Antisocial play it so often that I do have a pretty good sense for how to play this, even though I've never run it before. So as I mentioned before, do not level if you're playing this. It's very important to stay at level 4 for as long as possible. So I'm going to stay here at level 4. And I'm trying to build up as much gold as possible. As I mentioned, normally you do this by loss streaking, but I ended up winning those first 2 rounds. So I'm trying to accumulate gold, and then when we get to stage 3-1, I'm going to roll while I'm still level 4 on the last round that I'm still level 4 before I hit level 5, and try to hit as many of these units as possible. And I won't 3-star all of these units, but I'm going to try to 3-star as many as I can. This is actually a really good loss. I take 2 damage, and I managed to get a modest loss streak going into the minion round. I'm also now on 6 Ezreals as well. So in retrospect, if I had known that I should be itemizing Ezreal instead of itemizing Karma, this would have been just about perfect because I'm actually going to hit the Ezreal, I believe, a little bit sooner than hit the Karma. All right, so in terms of itemization, what are you looking for? You just want super tanky frontline. So for Leona, standard tank items are good. Warmogs is really good because Guardians provides that shielding based off of a percentage of maximum health. So Warmogs is great because you have more maximum health. Other tanky items, obviously, Gargoyle Stoneplate, Bramble Vest, Dragon's Claw, all that kind of stuff is excellent for your frontliners. Sunfire Cape, of course, awesome as usual. So all that stuff is good. In terms of itemizing your carry units, well, it turns out that Ezreal and Karma have very, very similar itemization. I'll get back to this in a minute, though. And oh my god, look at this shot. 3 Leonas and a Karma. Are you kidding me? So we'll make the Warmogs. Now there's another Tark, another Ez. Again, I'm going to roll here. I want to pick up this Ashe. Ashe is the next unit who goes in at level 5, so it's important to pick her up. And now we want to keep rolling. We want to try to 3-star some of these units if we can. Remember, the shop odds are going to decrease for level 1 units as soon as I hit the next level up. So I guess I end up stopping there on 20 gold. I probably should roll a little bit more, to be honest, but I was about to run out of bench space, so I think that's the reason why I stopped. I've also gotten 2 swords here, and this is not good. So remember how I was talking about itemization for Ezreal and Karma? They share basically the same itemization. Well, they both deal magic damage, and they both have low mana costs. So their core item for both of them is blue buff, and then stacking magic damage from there. So blue buff is really good, Giant Slayer is very good, Jeweled Gauntlet, Death Cap, Archangel Staff, all this stuff is good. But the problem is this comp doesn't really use swords all that well, at least not that well in the early game. 1 sword is good for Giant Slayer, but beyond that, you don't really want a ton of swords. Like 1 sword is fine, but you don't want a billion swords. So I'm looking here, I was like, I can't play Exiles, no way. I don't want to reroll a Silver Augment. Throw of the Hunt I don't really like, so I'm going to go ahead and take this gain 1 completed item, and then it gives me Edge of Night, another AD item. I was like, oh, that's not really what I wanted there. I really would have liked a defensive tank item for Leona, or alternately an AP item of some kind. So I don't really have a great use for 2 swords. I would like to put these items on Xiaoyu later, because Xiaoyu is good to play into this comp, but here's the thing, remember, because I'm going to be like sacking levels early on, because I'm just going to be re-rolling here, it's going to take me ages to be able to get Xiaoyu into this team comp. Like, I'm just not even going to see the unit forever, because you have to be level, what is it? I guess I have 2% odds right now, but I don't really want to play that Xiaoyu until I get to like level 7 or level 8. And that's going to be like ages and ages and ages away. So I've got this Edge of Night and then these double swords. And I need to put them on someone so I can get use out of these items. I don't want it to be Leona, because Edge of Night is an item that is used to drop aggression, and I don't want Leona ever to drop aggression. So it's got to be on one of the other units. I don't really want to itemize the Ashe either, because Ashe is mostly in here as a trait bot. I guess technically she's probably the best person to put AD items on, but because she does deal physical damage. But like, you know, she's not really a great unit to itemize either here. So I'm kind of stuck with items that I didn't really want. As I said, that was kind of a bad roll to get out of the item grab bag. If I'd known that I was going to get the Edge of Night, probably would have gone with Thrill of the Hunt instead, or use my reroll. But I really don't like using rerolls on silver augments, because they're just, you know, the amount of power that's in a silver augment is lower than what you get out of the gold or out of the prismatic augments. Anyway, this game's going really well. I only lost 1 round. Otherwise, I've actually been win streaking, which again is somewhat uncommon. Typically, you win streak after you hit your 3 stars. That's where the comp spikes. So this tends to be a comp that spikes in the mid game after you kind of hit your 3 stars. It also has a spike when you hit your initial 2 stars, and then it kind of decreases for a bit, and then you hit your 3 stars, and then you're strong throughout the mid game. And then this comp does fall off in the late game, because it is based on playing a bunch of 1-cost units. And even at 3 stars, they do get outscaled in the late game. So oftentimes you will be like kind of hanging on with extra health at the end of the game. And then these other boards that are playing, you know, like 4 and 5 cost units will then kind of outscale. Now that said, Ascension, my first augment, is really good, because this is basically a stall comp. You basically use the Leona Taric frontline to just stall for a while. And then the idea being that, you know, Ezreal ramps up, Karma ramps up over time, and then they kill things. That's why an Archangels is a really good item as well. Ezreal naturally gains attack speed over the course of the fight, so he kind of has innate ramping as well. But Ascension, really, really good, because you're trying to stall out fights over time. All right, so my top item here is probably either a rod or a bow. A rod just to get some AP going, a bow so I can make Giant Slayer. So those are kind of the items I'm looking for. But guess what's not going to be there on these carousels? Yeah, they both get taken. So I was like, well, that's not really what I want, but I can get a good item here. I'm going to go ahead and take this vest, and that's going to make a Sunfire on Leona, which is, again, a really important item. You kind of want to build Sunfire on every team. Oh, wait, no, I guess I don't have another belt. I thought I had a belt on my bench, but I guess not. All right, in any case, I will go ahead and happily take that Chain Vest, though, and put it on Leona, and that can be something. And so now I decide, you know what? I don't want these items to just sit here forever. I'm going to go ahead and make use of them, and I'm going to put them on Ezreal. Again, Ezreal deals magic damage. I am well aware of the fact that Ezreal deals magic damage, but I'm on 8 Ezreals, so he's going to be 3-starred pretty soon. And my thinking was just, I'd rather have Ezreal hold these items because he's going to be a 3-star unit, as opposed to Ashe, who's basically a trait bot and is not going to be 3-star like forever. So I do think it was probably the right decision, just given the items that I was getting. But I was definitely disappointed that I was getting all these swords. I really would have preferred to get some rod-based items or tier-based items. All right, now in terms of the leveling pattern, note that after I rolled down at I rolled on 3-1 to try to hit as many of these units as I could because I had the good shop odds to do so. And then after that, I let my economy build back up to 50 gold. And by the way, is Ezreal actually going to win this? It's very close now. Unfortunately, not able to win this one. But I let my gold build back up to 50 gold on level 5. And now I'm going to slow roll here at level 5 to try to hit some of my 3-stars. I have 8 Ezreals, 8 Leonas. So we're close here. Hopefully I can hit one of these before I run out of board space. And I roll one more time and I hit the 3-star Leona. So this is really big. This is what I want to see because Leona is right now probably the most important unit in my team composition. The whole point is Leona soaks up damage, and if the other teams can't get through Leona, then my team will eventually win the fight, and that's the idea. I'm also trying to shift units around because I know there's a Thresh on one of these other boards, and I'm trying to avoid having my unit hooked in the corner. Positioning for this team comp is very simple. You just group up in the corner around the Jade statue, and there's not really much more you can do in terms of positioning. Antisocial has said that playing this board is kind of very relaxing because you don't really have to focus on positioning at all. Like, what the other teams are doing doesn't really matter that much at all because you're kind of in the same positioning for every single fight. And it's almost like you're playing a single-player game because you're just kind of focused on building your own team. And it doesn't really matter what the other players are doing that much because, like, you know which units you want. There's not much flexibility in the comp. You kind of are playing the exact same units in every single game. You kind of play these same 6 units. You don't worry about positioning, and you just kind of chill and like play the same units. So I personally don't love this gameplay style. I like pushing levels. I don't like sitting there and re-rolling. But I can see how this is kind of a relaxing play style for people sometimes. Anyway, I've hit the Ezreal, so that's really big. And at this point in time with Ezreal and Leona hit, the question would be, do I stay here and keep re-rolling, or do I look to push levels and try to get Lee Sin in? Well, I haven't even found a Lee Sin yet, so that's pretty straightforward. By the way, look at what I'm going to get from this shop. I'm going to get another sword. I was like, oh, I don't want another sword. I really don't want another sword. So what am I going to do with all of these swords? Anyway, Lee finally pops up in the store. He's the next unit in, so we'll hold him. And I'm just going to continue slow rolling here. I'm looking for Karma. Because I'm on 8 Karmas, I'm going to continue rolling. And there we go. We've hit Karma. I am not that close to hitting the Taric, so I will pass on hitting the Taric for right now. I'm going to go ahead and make a Deathblade on Ezreal. So I've got Edge of Night Deathblade Ezreal, which, again, not the way you want to itemize Ezreal. You really want to be building, as I said, Blue Buff is his most important item, and then Giant Slayer, Archangel Staff, Deathcap, Jeweled Gauntlet. These are the items you want on him. You don't want all these AD items because his ability deals magic damage, not physical damage. But I didn't know what else to do here with all these AD items, and I do think this was making the best of the situation that I was in because Ezreal, just by virtue of being Swift Shot, he will stack up attack speed. He will get the additional attack speed from Swift Shot trait. So his base AD is pretty decent just by being a 3-star unit. So I've got to make use of these items somehow, and I do think it was better to play them on Ezreal as opposed to playing them on Ashe, even though Ashe is a unit that deals AD and not magic damage. Okay, so some choices here. I do have the option just to play Stand United, and I don't think that would be bad. I also have the option to play Cybernetic Shell, and ultimately, I decide I'm going to play into Stand United just because I don't feel like enough units are going to be taking damage to get the benefit from Cybernetic Shell. I really do like Cybernetic Shell, but the only units that should be taking damage here are Leona and Taric, if the fight's going the way that I hope it does. Meanwhile, Stand United is going to get me 3 AD and 3 AP on each unit for every trait. I have 5 traits, and I'll be getting more traits in as the game goes on. So 15 AD and 15 AP on all my units. That, again, is going to help Ezreal and Karma quite a bit. I am still disappointed that I'm not getting more items to put on Karma, because I'm trying to play through the Karma here in this game. She is the one I have made into the Dragonmancer. You can kind of see how these 6 units provide really nice synergy. 3 Jade, 3 Dragonmancer, 2 Swiftshot, 2 Guardian, 2 Tempest. So like you get this really nice synergy across all of your units there. But I have not been able to get additional items on Karma, and that's kind of disappointing because, as I said, I was playing her as main carry, not Ezreal as main carry. But Ezreal has kind of turned into the main carry regardless, just because of the items I've picked up, and it looks like he's got this. So yeah, we actually are kind of back on a win streak again, and now I'm going to look to go to higher levels, and then the next unit I want to play is Xiaoyu, because Xiaoyu will get me up to 6 Jade. And that is what's going to help my team out quite a bit, because that'll give me extra attack speed and extra health regen, which again is a very big deal on a unit like Leona, who's 3-starred with the Warmog, so she has an awful lot of health. So now that Ezreal is mostly fully itemized, the next thing I want to prioritize in terms of itemization really is getting items for Leona. I need 3 items on Leona to make her tankier, and that's what's going to allow me to make it through more of these fights. I need her just to soak up damage like crazy. So she has the health right now, but I want her to get the extra armor and magic resistance from having extra defensive items. So like I said, Sunfire would be really big, along with Gargoyle's Stoneplate, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. All right, so this is a team that is running mages, and they have a well-itemized Rise. They also have a 3-star Nami. So for the first time, we are not able to hold up to that team, and they end up cutting through. So that's my first loss in a while. Again, I am level 6, while other people are going to be hitting level 8. Now, there's a Bard on this carousel. I would 100% take this Bard if I can, because that would be a way to get Mystic Trade in, and Bard is just an awesome unit. But of course, that gets taken first, so no surprise there. So I'm going to have to look for defensive item for the Leona up front. I got a couple of different choices here, so I can still go for that Sunfire if I want. And I also have the option to go for one of the other defensive items, and I end up going for the Gargoyle Stoneplate, in part because I think it's more useful here, also because it's on a 2-cost unit instead of a 1-cost unit on that Tark. I guess I could have taken the Tark and then tried to have the item pop off if I managed to get up to 3-star Tark, but it's a bit unlikely I'm going to hit 3-star Tark at this point. I guess it's still possible, but somewhat unlikely. All right, so I decide I'll go to level 7 here, mostly so I have better odds to try to see Xiaoyu in the store. Again, I can't really play Xiaoyu because I need 2 slots for that unit, and I'm not level 8 yet. But I did want to have better odds to find that unit, and it's not like it cost me a lot of gold. So I'm going to play Twitch. Twitch gets me another trait. That gets me up to 6 traits for Stand United value. And Twitch, of course, is going to provide extra attack speed to everybody on the team via the guild trait. So we did lose the last round, but we're looking pretty solid in this one again. Ascension's going to kick in. Note that Leona is now not dying. She's got that Gargoyle Stoneplate. So now it's like, can Leona solo this Deja? Leona does not do much damage, but it looks like she's probably got this anyway. So yep. Leona just out-tanks the Deja. Even though the Deja has a Hand of Justice for some innate healing, Leona still wins the 1v1. Note there's double Idases in the comp, but I'm not playing Idis in this setup. And if I was in more danger, I could look to roll here to try to 2-star the Lee Sin, but I'm not really in any danger. I'm most health in the lobby by a wide margin, like by a lot in this lobby. And I do think my comp's going to start falling off, especially because so many people are level 8 and I'm still level 7. And these 3-cost units just do innately fall off over time. But hopefully I have enough health built up that I can hang in here in the lobby and secure a top 4 finish. This person has a Pike. I believe this person took Pike off Carousel, and that makes sense for them to take because they're playing through a Siphon over there. This Siphon does not have lifesteal, though, so we're kind of chipping down the Siphon because there's no healing on this board. Kind of a misitemization on their part. So yeah, even though that Siphon's very, very strong, we just chip them down over time. I guess they have Celestial. Never mind. They have Celestial for their 3rd augment. So they actually don't need healing on that unit. But yeah, we're just able to chip it down over time. Ascension kicking in. And Ez is my top damage dealer. AD Ezreal in here. So now look at these items I'm going to get. There's a spatula, but what would I do with the spatula? I guess it could make someone into a Dragonmancer, but that's not really going to be helpful here. I wish I had a spatula so I could just make Force of Nature. And then I see this, and I was like, maybe. And then I'm looking at this. I was like, geez, can I get some AP items? Just getting more swords. I really would like to get some items for Karma here. And then I see this, and I was like, all right, let's go ahead and take this. I think we can take this because this will be a chalice, and then I can make another chalice. And I think that that's not bad. So I'll go ahead and do this. And this, again, not really standard itemization, but I'm going to go ahead and put the chalice on Karma. That does give her some ability power. Or wait, do I put this on? No, I think I do put this on the Karma, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we'll put this on Karma. It's like, all right, well, this is one way to get some AP on Karma. This is going to get 40 AP on Karma. And guess what? It's also going to put, or no, not 40. It's going to put 60 AP on Karma and 60 AP on Ezreal as well. So it's kind of wonky. Like, this is kind of a weird way to do this. But yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense to do this. And then I also have a loaded dice. And my plan was I'll use the loaded dice to try to fish for Shioyu. I was thinking if I use it on a Jade unit at level 8, I should have pretty good odds to find Shioyu. If not Shioyu, maybe I can find Soraka, which would not be a terrible unit to look to play either. I could play Soraka for my next unit. All right, so we are up against someone who's playing, what is this? This is a Legend comp with Volibear, and they've also got a Yasuo in there as well. But yeah, we kind of, Leona just tanks it. Leona just sits there and tanks all the damage, and we end up winning this round too and knock that person down to just 2 HP. So I'm, again, just continuing to level up. I'm going to try to get to level 8, and then I'll roll for Shioyu there, and that's kind of my board. Look at the health in the lobby, by the way. So even though I'm probably not going to win the lobby, I've just banked so much HP that I feel like I'm in great shape here because all these people are going to hit each other and deal damage, and I'm still sitting there at like 80 health, which is kind of amazing with my wonky setup here, which is not really what I'm looking for. All right, so again, positioning really simple. I don't even really have to scout that much. Like, what am I going to do in terms of repositioning here? Like, everybody's kind of just bunched up around the Jade statue. I guess I could consider who gets the extra AP, but I think it's better to get it on Lee Sin than on Twitch. So, yeah, and then this person's Shroud just misses, so that's nice. Unfortunately, this person has found an Ao Shin, and they have good itemization on the Ao Shin. Also, you note that the Bard ult just wrecks me. That's very common. You don't really like seeing Bard or Shrouds of Stillness with this setup. So Leona's still alive, but it's like, do we have enough damage to kill the Ao Shin? One more ult from Karma? One more ult from Karma would have done it. But probably. Actually, Ao Shin might have survived that, but anyway, so I guess I will pick up the Sona here. I'm not bothering to pick up the Twitch because I know I'm not going to be playing Twitch for much longer. I could play like Sona plus, I don't know, something else. I'd have to think about it. Probably not going to play the Sona either, but just a useful utility unit to have, so I figured I would pick her up. I am taking the time to look at this and, oh boy, this person has 3-star Rise. Oh, that's... Well, I'm hoping I don't hit that person. 3-star Rise, that feels like trouble. Don't want to see that person. And here it is, 3-star Rise, and they've got a Shroud of Stillness. But look at the way they've itemized their team. They don't really have much in the way of frontline. Like, they really don't have much in the way of frontline. So that is a hole in their team setup here. But that is a 3-star Rise. And yeah, that's not something that I think I can overcome at the moment. Doing my best, but yeah, they're going to punch through. And 3-star Rise is definitely a little bit stronger than 3-star Ezreal with these weird AD items that I didn't want to give him. So this is indeed what I expected to happen. Some of the people in the lobby are scaling up. And as I said, this build is one that gets outscaled in time. That said, I can get stronger here. I do have the opportunity now. Finally, I'm going to go to 8, see if I can find Shioyu. There's a lot of items that would have been really good on Ezreal or Karma earlier in the game, but they're not available anymore. So I'm going to have to look to try to find something else. Static Shiv also would have been really good in the early game too, but that's not available as an option either. So I'm kind of looking for items that can go on Shioyu here, since that's the next unit that's going to go in. And I see there's an Edge of Night, which is seen as being one of the better items on Shioyu. So I'm going to go ahead and look to grab that. It's also on a 4 gold Nico, which is quite nice. So, all right, let's go ahead and go level 8. And now I'm going to use my loaded dice. And I'm going to use it on Taric. And, okay. That's not what I was looking for. Not what I was looking for, but hey, I find Xiaoyu right away, so that's good news. That actually is quite nice. So now we're going to go ahead and put the Jade statue over here, and I'm going to look to go ahead and put Edge of Night on the Xiaoyu. There's also a Soraka, but now that I have Xiaoyu, I don't really see a good way of getting Soraka into the team. So yeah, that loaded dice was not it. Would have been good if I was re-rolling for 3-star Anivia. So Taric, I believe, was the correct person to use it on. I want to use it on Taric because I want Jade trait, and then the other trait I wanted to put in play was Guardian. And the reason for that is because there's like no high cost Guardians. It meant that it was going to be very unlikely I'd roll Guardians. I was mostly going to roll just Jade units. And that is in fact what happened, but I kind of got unlucky to hit all the Anivias. Anyway, this person was trying to play Dragon Alliance, Dragon Horde, and that did not work for them. So we're just going to knock them out of the game. And we're already down to just 4 players. So this game has been a success already. I was able to top 4. By the way, there's an Ao Shin, but there's no way I can play Ao Shin from the setup that I have here. So I'm really just looking for more of these Xiaoyus. And I actually find it. Now, I find it because no one else is playing it in this lobby, so it's completely uncontested. But hey, that's not bad. And I really would like to get more use out of these chalices. I'm going to try to shift things around. But then I also want to make sure that Xiaoyu is getting the Jade statues bonus attack speed and bonus health regen. So I'm going to need to shift that front statue down a little bit. But my team's actually come together pretty nicely here. Like I even with the really weird itemization on Ezreal, I think that I've got a board that's pretty solid, all things considered. I'm level 8. The fact that I had to reroll so much early in the game doesn't matter. Obviously, I'm not going to get to level 9, but that's okay. And yeah, I'm getting outscaled by some of these people. This person's playing Guild Zaya, and this person's, got me outscaled. I should be able to hang on here for at least like a 3rd place finish, something like that. I'm hoping so. And it looks like the person I lost to, I think, is the person who's win streaking in the lobby. I also get this. I get a Shroud of Stillness. That's super nice. Really like those late game Shrouds. So I can put this on Leona, and that'll be a good defensive last item for her. So like, look at this. Now I shift the Jade statue down a tile. So now Xiaoyu is getting the health regen and attack speed bonus. And I think this is my final setup, and I don't really think there's much I can do in terms of positioning. The double chalice also kind of weird, but I think it kind of works here because both Ezreal and Karma really want AP. And this way they're both getting 60 additional AP, and I can give it to Xiaoyu as well, which is quite nice. All right, so we've got the Shroud, and at this point there's very little I can roll for, except I have 8 Tarics, so I guess I roll for Taric 3-star. But yeah, short of getting like a Force of Nature or Tactician's Crown off of a carousel, this is kind of my endgame board. I can't really do much from here. The odds of hitting Taric at this point are not high, but better than nothing. All right, and oh, look at this. I'm going to be up against the 3-star Rise board. So I was like, oh, okay, I've got a Shroud that's really good against this team. Can I swap over here so that I Shroud their whole team? All right, so we're going to get perfect Shroud. Now, they're going to Shroud me as well, but the Ezreal and Karma have low mana cost, so that's not as important. And remember I said before, they really don't have good frontline in this comp. They put their tank items on Vlad. That is a mistake. The tank items need to be on Sylas, not Vlad. And oh, Xiaoyu's going to get the knockup. Leona's still alive. Wait a minute. We're kind of winning this fight. Wait, are we gonna beat 3-star Rise with my board of 1 and 2 cost units? Yes. Actually, yes, and I knocked Rise out of the lobby. I was like, what? But yeah, apparently I'm actually able to beat the 3-star Rise board, which was very surprising to me. Anyway, I do actually make a mistake there. There was a Yasuo in the store, and I should have looked to play the Yasuo. It is, in fact, worth dropping Tempest trait to play Yasuo over Lee Sin, so that's a mistake on my part. It's very unlikely I'll ever hit 2-star Yasuo, but like that gives me then another very, very strong carry unit. So yes, even though I would lose Tempest trait for that and lose Stand United value, I should have picked up the Yasuo, and I should have played Yasuo over the Lee Sin. Definitely a better unit. And it would still retain the Dragonmancer buff. Plus, then I could maybe look to start itemizing Yasuo, and then I get just another carry. But just, as I said, food for the future. All right, so we're up against a Siphon comp here, but we actually blow up the Siphon almost immediately. And without the Siphon, there's very little damage threat in this board. Siphon kind of charged into the backlines, but Ezreal Karma focused him, and he just dies like instantly. And then we win this round too, and we knock this person out of the lobby. And there's actually only 3 people left in the lobby now. I was like, oh, by the way, and another Yasuo pops up. So I was like, oh, man, could have gotten 2 Yasuos there, assuming the shot bot stayed the same. But, ooh, look at this. Someone's got 3-star Zaya. I was like, okay, we beat 3-star Rise. Do we beat 3-star Zaya? I don't know that we beat 5 Cavalier, 3-star, 4 Guild Zaya. This person's build is monstrous. Absolutely insane build there. 3-star Zaya with Guild, and also with 5 Cavaliers in. With Ornn as a Cavalier as well. I was like, oh boy. I don't think that I win this one. On the other hand, though, this is a ghost round. The other two players are hitting each other. So one of them is guaranteed to get knocked out of this lobby. One of them's on 8 HP. One of them's on 4 HP. One of them will be out of the game, and that's going to guarantee me at least a second place. I was like, yeah, I cannot beat this board. That is an insane board. And it turns out that, oh, look at that Zoe invulnerability. Zoe gets off an invulnerability at the last second, and that allows the Ao Shin player to win. So I actually managed to place higher than 3-star Zaya, 3-star 4 Guild Zaya with 5 Cavalier. I actually do better than them in the lobby. This carousel is sad though, because this carousel has a Zephyr, and I desperately wanted that Zephyr, but it's on the other side of the carousel, and so the other player is going to get it. All right, so I am up against someone who's playing Ao Shin, and they've hit the 2-star Ao Shin. So I was like, oh boy, this is the comp that caps out the highest in set 7. If you're unfamiliar with this set, this is like the endgame Exodia comp, the Bill Gates comp, as people have said. It's like, if you have infinite money, this is the comp that you put together. So my only hope is to shroud the Ao Shin. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Did I manage to land the shroud? And yes, I actually did. And the Zephyr is going to miss. So I was like, well, if I'm ever going to beat this person, it has to be this. They missed the Zephyr, and I hit the Shroud. So do I have any chance to beat this person? We are able to delay that first cast from Ao Shin for a long time, but that's a lot of damage. All right, well, I still have Ezreal alive, still have Karma alive, but yeah, this is not particularly close. I do not think that I beat this person. And this other board is just too strong. They've just capped out too high. They have 2-star Ao Shin. They have 2-star Bard. They have 2-star Zoe. I just can't beat this board, unfortunately. And they also got, I mean, like, maybe if I got the Zephyr and I hit the Zephyr and the Shroud perfectly, but outside of like insane RNG, I don't think that this is going to happen. So I'll give it one more shot, but I'm not actually expecting to win this. Still, I am very happy with how this game has gone. I have outlasted a 3-star Rise. I have outlasted a 3-star Zaya, and I'm up against like literally the strongest comp someone can possibly build. And this person's on 5 HP, so it was super duper close, but just cannot keep up with 2-star Zoe's invulnerabilities, 2-star Bard putting that damage buff on, or debuff on my team, and then the 2-star Ao Shin that just electrocutes the entire team. There's nothing I can do about this. So GG, great game, and this team comp actually worked like really well. I don't think it's a strong comp to force in every game necessarily, but if you get the pieces and it's uncontested, it's not bad. Definitely not bad. So a chance for me to show a change of pace team composition, one that does not play out the way that I typically play, since I don't like going for reroll builds. And Antisocial Monkey, I hope I did you proud in this game, since you are the master of this particular team. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, hope you guys are having a great week. Take care, folks.